So my friend Travis is having a little bit of an electrical issue with his 64 Rambler. It's killing the battery. So I told him to bring it by and we'll see what's going on. I suspected it had a draw. So I figured, well, as long as we're doing this, I'll show you guys how we used to diagnose stuff back in the old days. You know, before all the electronic stuff. The test light was it. This was like the sum total of the electronic test equipment that you needed back then. Yeah, I mean, the rich guys and the scientists and, like, you know, they all had like multimeters and whatnot, but average guy didn't. We had a test light. So, and you can even use this as a voltmeter. You know, you'll know what 12 volts looks like. That's 12 volts, right? If you see it dimmer than that, you know it's 6 volts. You see it really dim, you know it's like 2 volts. If it pops, you know that, you know, you went off the scale. It's 17 volts. So at any rate, for checking a draw, so a lot of times you'll have a car that as it sits, the battery will go dead. And, you know, what is it, right? Well, you'll find things like trunk lights will stay on, dome lights will stay on, brake lights will stay on, all different things. A lot of cars had relays for the climate control systems and whatnot that would sometimes stick and run the blower motor when the engine wasn't going. So the way you use a test light to find this is you pull off a battery cable. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, right? Okay, yeah, so we pop the positive off and clip this to that and stick this in here. Okay, so you notice the light is off, right? Travis, pop the door open. Now you see, as soon as he opened the door, the light came on. So right now, the circuit is being completed by the test light. What you would do at this point, assuming that that you don't know what the problem is, so we know that we opened the door, but let's say you're trying to find the problem, what you would do is you would take the dome light out. Can you pop the dome light out? Okay. You're out, that's good. Okay, and then what you would do is you would start taking fuses out. And when you took out the fuse that made the light go out, you found the circuit that was giving you your draw. So, as it turns out, we did this on this car already. And couldn't find anything. There was no draw. And then I says, well, let's see what happened. Well, I'll show you another thing beyond the test light. Oh wait, I have another cool test light trick for you. I'll show you in a minute, right? So start it up, Travis. Now, I don't recommend you doing this on a newer car, but if you're dealing with something from the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, with the engine running, pop the cable off. Once the car is running, you can take the battery out. It's not doing anything. It's supposed to be running off the alternator. This thing here, as soon as I pop the cable off, it's stalled, which means that either the alternator or the regulator is bad, and we'll diagnose that. We'll show you how to troubleshoot that another time. But back to the test light thing, start it up. You can also use these things as to make a cylinder balance test or find a dead cylinder. So let's just say you've got a miss, right? What you do is you take the test light, you ground it, and then you slip it between the boot and the wire. And you hear the motor slow down? And it picks back up again. So, and then it picks back up again. So if you had a dead cylinder, what you would do is you would run around the cap, do that to each wire, and the one that didn't make any difference, here's where your miss is. So, yeah, simple old school stuff. This is how we did things in the old days. You know, here, shut it off. If you're an old timer like me, you look at something like this and you start to get choked up because you remember how simple and how much fun it was to work on these cars. I mean, look at this. You want to do an oil change on this car. Here's your filter, right? I mean, does it get any simpler than that? That's what makes these cars special. See you tomorrow.